Hello, everybody. This is Frank the Taper here, live from my dining room table. And it's been a couple of weeks since I've been off my cruise to Port Canaveral, Nassau, Bahamas, and MSC, Private Island. So here's the review of that without getting into too much crazy detail. I went on MSC last year. This was my second time going on the ship out of Brooklyn. Okay, out of Red Hook, Brooklyn Cruise Terminal. We came out. That's where we got on. Getting on the ship, hey, you know what? It moved pretty well. It was not too complicated. Got on pretty fast. The ship was, booked, fully booked, like it was last year. But I can say for MSC Meraviglia, it was better this year than it was last year. The entertainment was better. I think the food quality was even actually better. The price is ridiculous. I and my wife went on 7 days, and it was around $700 each. So about $1,400. You went away for 7 days. Ate and drank as much as you want, and everything the cruise ship had to offer, which was plenty. For that kind of money, it's the best deal in town. Okay, if I would have done something equal on NCL, it would have cost me an extra $1,000. Easy. Which I can honestly say, I go on Norwegian. I've been on about 7 cruises with them, and that's kind of like my home cruise. When I go on Norwegian, I feel at home. I have the most experience with them, going to all different kinds of places. I think it's maybe a higher grade, a higher level than MSC is, but MSC, I believe, is catching up. Now, the ship, the Meraviglia, is gorgeous. I mean, it's a beautiful ship. Plenty of bling, crystal staircases, the whole 9 yards. I mean, everything's shiny metal all over the place. It really is over the top. It's a beautiful ship. That Plaza Meraviglia, that with the mezzanine and the ceiling, the LED ceiling, which has all kinds of things going on. This year it was a Halloween theme, and so they had a big Halloween party. People getting dressed up, and all kinds of themes and on this ceiling, which is, you have to really see it. It really is the star of the ship, that mezzanine and all the stores. It's like walking down Rodeo Drive. I mean, you forget you're even on a cruise ship. It is really something else to behold. Beautiful. So all the big stuff they got going on, it's really pretty gorgeous. The atrium, though, is a little small. Now, the atrium on Norwegian, their ships, the atrium is the hot spot where all the games and everything interacts. But on MSC, the atrium is a little bit small. You have your bar, you have a few quiet places to sit, which was very nice. It was very nice just to relax, but there could have been more chairs. It seemed like there wasn't enough chairs in the atrium right there, so that would be like, I don't know if it's a negative, it's just different. But the ship itself was beautiful. It's in beautiful condition. It was extremely clean. There was nothing to even complain about. Really, the entertainment, which last year was kind of non-existent, but this year it was much higher quality and more of it. They had some Latin club where they played a lot of Latin type music, which is on the mezzanine level. And they had, I went to some of the shows, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. I actually, last year, really nothing interested me. But this year they had like a little 80s night and like a 90s type thing, which last year they did not have. So they had that. They had people playing in the lobby. They had one pub called the Brass Anchor Pub, which there was a guy, I think his name is Joe Fiorini, I think, Fiorini. Yeah, so he was singing and playing the guitar only in that pub. He only would play there. I wish the guy would have been traveling around the ship. I would have followed him and see. He sang very well, played every song with background music, and played the live guitar to every song. It could have been metal. It could have been anything. He was playing. So he was really good. But he was delegated only to that one bar. So if you don't like, like the bar scene, I guess you'd miss him out. But it was a nice place, beautiful, like old time Irish pub type theme in the bar. Showed all the games, so I watched my Steelers lose again for the second year on the ship. But I watched them anyway because I'm a fan. Sometimes I wonder why. But anyway, so all the games they played, the soccer games in there, the football games, and the World Series was going on at the time. And they were playing that. So that's like the place to be. If you want to, it's like a sports bar. So that was a lot of fun. He was really great. Seen some of the Broadway shows, and just outstanding. Really, they really stepped it up. MSC really took things into consideration, and they want to play with the big boys, which is Royal Caribbean and Norwegian. And they really made an effort. I could see it only on my second time on that ship, the differences. And the food, some people last year complained that the food was coming out cold and it wasn't warm. Listen, I ate in the dining room every single night. My dinner time was 5 o'clock. It was originally 7. I said, that's too late. So I wanted to eat early. Very easy to accommodate. No problem, Mr. Frank. They call me. No problem, Mr. Frank. We'll switch it to, to 5 o'clock. And I wanted to sit at a table with just me and my wife. I didn't want to sit at like a round community table because, I'm antisocial. Well, actually, I'm really not. But I went away with my wife. I just wanted to talk and sit across from her and talk to her without feeling obligated to speak to other people that were annoying me. So they accommodated that very, very easily. And so that was a really good thing. And I appreciate that special attention. Now, in the dining room, I had people sitting next to me, like a couple of feet away on the next aisle. But it was just me and my wife, which I really appreciated. And my waiter and waitress, who were married together, that took care of our table, our little section, were just awesome. These people work hard. Now, I know gratuities are included, but so what? If you can't spare an extra $5 or $10, you shouldn't be on the cruise. You're saving another ton of money by being on MSC. So give some of that savings to the help. They were outstanding. They would do anything for you at any time. And of course they're all foreigners. A lot of them were for Bali. And they worked hard. They were so pleasant and just so eager for you to have a great time that I just over-tipped because that's the way I am. I appreciate effort, labor, and politeness. And, you see them every night, and they're always happy to see you. And when you tip them, they're even happier to see you. But it was great. The cabin was great. They actually called me up and brought me up to a balcony, which I wanted the same room I had the first time because it was great. It was right next to the elevator. It was so beautiful. The outside elevator that goes at the side of the ship. So you get some beautiful views. And they asked me, would you like an upgrade? They actually called me a couple of months before I went on the cruise. They're calling me to tell me, now get this, Mr. Frank, would you mind if we just give you a free upgrade to a balcony room? And I said, wait a minute, what? Gee, let me think. Okay. And I grabbed the room. It was on the upper floor. Now, to tell you the truth, I don't use the balcony. I don't. I do. I open it up in the morning. I stare out to see where we are, or I hang my towels on a chair. I didn't sit on that balcony one time. It just doesn't like, some people, they want to eat out there, live out there, read out there, take pictures. I don't. It just doesn't appeal to me. I don't care. I wouldn't pay extra for it. That's for sure. But it's a big but here. But for a free upgrade, I'd take it. You know why? I'll tell you. The room is bigger, and they give you a couch. They give you a nice size couch in the room, so you can actually sit on the couch watch TV. You don't have to sit on the edge of the bed or lay in bed to watch it because your cabin's too small. I mean, they're tight. You had your closets and stuff like that, and everything was good with all that stuff. The bathroom was all the same size and everything, but the couch for me was worth it because it's something else to lay your clothes on, and and the room was just a little bit bigger. So, and it was free. If it's free, it's me. So, that was another great thing that they did. They called me. So now, and the food and the quality was terrific. I had swordfish that was outstanding. I eat mostly fish at dinner because when I go on these things, I like to eat stuff that I can't eat or afford at home. So, when I'm at home, I don't be eating no swordfish. I be eating tuna fish. So when I'm on the cruise and they got octopus or they got barramundi, they got swordfish and salmon and lobster, that's what I'm eating. Miss Cindy does not like fish at all. So she eats other stuff, chicken, steak. She's more of a steak person, which were outstanding. The steaks were delicious. They were cooked to perfection. Really stepped up. Not that the food last year was bad, but this is good. And another tip: all the food you get in the restaurant, in the dining room, you can get in the buffet. Now, you want to skip dinner one night and you say, well, it's late, I got to go to a show or whatever. I want to eat afterwards. You're not obligated to sit at your dinner time. But if you want to go there, that's your time. So then you go. But if you're busy, if you're off the ship or whatever, then you can, you can go to the buffet, which was open a lot later than it was last year. This year, it closed like at 11. Last year, it closed down like at 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, you had nowhere to eat. They changed all that. Now you can go up to the buffet till 11. The ice cream station, which I frequent a lot, was open late out on the pool deck. So, they made a big improvement with that. And as usual, the pizza was outstanding. I don't know where they get the dough from. They might get it from maybe Red Hook, Brooklyn. I don't know. But that pizza was the best pizza you'll ever eat on any cruise ship ever on the water, and maybe even on land. It was terrific. And they make the fresh mozzarella right across from the pizza station. So you have the pizza station here, and right here they make the fresh mozzarella right there. They make it fresh right there in front of you. Then they take it out and they just give you samples with a little bit of basil, a little bit of pesto, and the milk is coming out of it. It's warm. I mean, if you like cheese, it'd be heaven for you. So it's got the best pizza, I think, land and sea. It just reminded me of growing up in Bronx and Brooklyn and having their pizza. It was outstanding. I ate an obscene amount of it every single day, every day. I didn't miss once. It was delicious. So that's the best pizza I've ever had on any cruise ship ever. And I think anybody that goes on the ship would agree. It really is terrific. Really is terrific. And the station was always packed. These guys were making pizza there morning, noon, and night. Every time you walk, no matter if it's in the morning or at night, the guy is spinning the dough. I mean, they earned their keep, I tell you that much. It was really something else. The drink package we had beforehand. Now, that $700 each that we had to pay included the gratuities and the drink package. How you going to say no to that? Now, the itinerary was pretty good. Last year, because of the hurricane, we could not stop. We stopped at Nassau and had to stay there. We could not go to their private island because the storm hit, and we had to get the heck out of there and head home. And we did not even stop at Port Canaveral, which I can care less. And on the way down there, we stopped at Port Canaveral. I didn't even get off the ship. I didn't even care. It's nothing in Florida I want to see. What's the big deal? So I just stayed on the ship and just relaxed. A lot of people went off. The weather was good. It was overcast most of the time. It was partly sunny. It wasn't clear sun, and just, so it was, it wasn't bad weather, but it wasn't like clear and sunny where, you're just getting a beautiful tan. It was partly sunny, a little overcast at times because of the weather. But, you know, it really didn't rain. Last time it did rain, but not long. But this year, no. So it was partly sunny every day. We went to Nassau. You know, nice place. You know, typical. Doesn't change. You know, you do a little shopping, whatever the case is. We went to one resort where we kind of just walked in there, and somebody got distracted, so we jumped in the water, and nobody could find us. So we stayed there and went in the water. It was beautiful. Then we got back on the ship, and then we went to their private island that they have, their marine preserve, whatever they call it. And the review of that is very good. I don't know what you're looking for, but if you're looking to be quiet, to relax and just chill, it's a good place. There's no rides, there's no slides. It's just basically a few beaches. I mean, it is an island, so it's surrounded by water. So you have a beach here, you have a little beach there, but not directly on the ocean. It was kind of like a cove that the water would come in, so it was very calm and very nice. Even I went in it, and I'm not. It's no secret that I'm not good in the water at all. And I went in for like 4 hours straight. I got a few shells and things like that, so interesting. Cheap gifts. But it wasn't bad. They had bad bathrooms, regular buildings, and a few of them. So you had plenty, and they were nearby. It wasn't far. And then he had a nice buffet set up. It's all free for the ship. It's all paid for. And you go to the buffet, and the food they have on the ship, they got that buffet. And they made some fried plantains. I went nuts because I love them. And at home I don't really eat them. But I thought my buddy I grew up with, Clive, a Jamaican friend of mine, I thought he made the best plantains ever. But these were a close second. They were just delicious. So they had, a little bit of like island flair food. And then they had regular, American stuff like, burgers and hot dogs and, cheese fries and stuff like that. And that was all included. And it was really, really nice. It was quiet. It was calm. The water was calm. It was warm. But, it wasn't like a Royal Caribbean like Coco Cay, where it's slides. It looks like a mini Disney World, with kids running and screaming all over. This was not. It was the complete opposite. It was very calm. There was really no rides. The only ride there was like a tram that take you back to the ship. And, for me and Miss Cindy, that was terrific. And you could, just go back and forth on the tram if you want. And they had some shopping, little broad walk there with all kinds of stores. But, they all sell pretty much the same stuff, a little bit of jewelry, some hats, bags. Always, every store's got bags. So it was pretty typical. I didn't buy anything because I got everything. Everywhere I go, I buy a hat. How many hats you going to have from the same place? I already have a Nassau, Bahamas hat, so I didn't, how many are you going to get? You know what I mean? So you only can wear one at a time. So there was really nothing there. Nassau was a little more strange, though, because we had to be back on the ship at Nassau, Bahamas by like 9 o'clock. Or was it 8:30 and 9 or something? Between 8:30 and 9. And, after being all day in the water and stuff, you had enough. So you want to get back up to the ship, plus we can't be late for dinner. But the shops were closing up like 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. Everybody was closing down their kiosks and all that stuff. And I'm like, what? 5 o'clock? And, and that was it. I thought, being that the ship is going to be there until like 8:30, 9 o'clock, everybody would stay open. But they were closing up at 5 o'clock, and that was it. Closing up shop. And then, like I said, it's typical. It's all the same stuff. Every store pretty much sold the same thing. There's nothing really unique or nothing. So, not bad stuff, but the stuff that either I had already or, like I said, how many bags you can have, How many? Anyway, so back on the ship, they just had everything. There's, I don't know if this is really worth mentioning, but a couple of negatives. Ice machines were like constantly broken. They were constantly fixing them, breaking down. And last year, they ran out of tea bags. So this year, Miss Cindy, she packed her own tea bags just in case they ran out. and they seem to kind of run out on equal. So if you're going to go, take your own equal or tea bags. Because they typically run out of like these little tiny things. They run out of, or like the ice machines are broken or something else. But in the big picture, it's very good. It's very, the cost, you can't beat it. You just can't beat the price. If it comes down to money with you, then you can't beat it. The price was outstanding. Entertainment was a lot better. So this is my second year. And would I go back? Absolutely. Now, there's another thing that I got to mention. If you're racist, and for some reason you don't like Asian people, whether they're Chinese or Japanese or Korean, or I can't really tell them apart, then you might want to avoid this cruise. The meraviglia, for some reason, is very popular with the Chinese. So popular, in fact, 90% of the people on the ship, the passengers, were Chinese or Korean. So they gave the announcements in English and Chinese. That's how many Asians or Chinese are on the ship. It was like all of Chinatown booked on there. And the guy from the private island that running the tram, he told me, he says, only this ship. We get ships in here every day. But only the Meraviglia, because I think it's close to Chinatown. He says only has all of these people. And, most things don't bother me, and I don't care. And they're not bad people, but some people think they're flat out rude. And I've seen some rude behavior, but hey, whatever. But what people call rude, I would say they're pushy. You know what I mean? Like when they want to get to the buffet, they'll knock you over. And then they'll say like, I'm sorry. And then knock you over again, to get to the white rice or whatever the heck they're eating. But anyway, so so if you don't like the Chinese or you're just prejudiced in that way, then you're not going to want to go on this ship if you have a problem with Chinese people. But if you don't mind getting pushed around and stuff like that, and have little old Chinese ladies screaming in your ear and going underneath your arms and under your legs to get to the buffet, then it's no problem. It's no problem. I had no issue with it, and I find it very funny. And they're loud as heck. You can hear them from a mile away. They say Italians are loud. They got us beat. And they scream at each other. So they're playing cards or whatever games that they're playing at different locations. They're playing cards like me and my wife play cards. They just, they scream at each other and stuff. It's very funny. So it depends on how you look at it. It can be very entertaining. But that's the only thing. Only that ship has them. And they mass book. They took a whole floor. And I heard that's why they gave people some upgrades to get them off one of the decks, to have them all together. Because, there's some big Korean churches that came. And so they try to put them all together on one floor. So I was going to be on the 8th deck. And 9th deck, I was last year. And then they bumped me up to the balcony room on the 10th deck. So I was like, all right. And I heard that they try to, keep all of them together. Because I don't think they're all related. But, I guess they're all familiar with each other. Some organization or whatever. And so that's why I got the free upgrade. So, so thanks to the Chinese. So they did right by me. So I got a free balcony room because they want to use the one deck for all those people. A few decks, because, you got there's 5,000 people on board. So there was about 4,000 Chinese, it had to be. That's what it seemed like. But anyway, the experience was very good. The private island was amazing and very calm. If you're looking for rides and games in like a carnival-like atmosphere, not there. It's very relaxed, very sedate. The beach, the sand was beautiful. The water was great, and that's what you do. You just spend a day in the water, laying out on the beach, relax and read the book, or, going to the buffet. It was very calm. It was very nice. More for adults. Kids that they just want to play in the sand and go in the water, perfect for them. But no big rides or entertainment like that. They did have a beach party at night, which I did not attend because I was going to a show. which was excellent, by the way. It was some kind of like singing show. I forgot the theme. So I missed the beach party. They're going to have like a little bonfire. So I'm sure, I mean, we looked off the ship and we saw it, going on. But, the fire, the light from the fire. But I don't really know what they were doing. But you get back on the ship, they're always happy to see you. Welcome back, Mr. Frank, Miss Cindy. Mr. Frank, Miss Cindy. So overall, I'd have to say Frank the Taper gives the cruise I took with MSC on Meraviglia out of Brooklyn a 2 thumbs up. There wasn't enough negative stuff to really even mention, except maybe if you like to drink tea, maybe bring your own tea bags. And if you like to use Equal, I would bring your own, because third or fourth day in, hard to find. Other than that, I think it was a vast improvement over last year, a vast improvement in entertainment, in food quality and quickness, and the ship was fully staffed. Last year, there wasn't half as many people working. I mean, there was people everywhere looking to serve you. Every bar had multiple waiters, waitresses. You didn't have to wait or look for somebody unless you had like a favorite server. And then, we'd wait. And, we had our favorites, and we took care of them good, Cabin steward was great. The room was always immaculate. They went the extra mile. I mean, my guy even folded my clothes. He didn't even have to do that. The thing is to clean his room. To clean the room, we didn't have to touch anything. He would fold the shirts and everything. So, hey, look, I took care of him at the end. I told him I would, and I did. He deserved every penny of it, too. But, it was fully staffed. It's a great improvement. MSC did a great job. They staffed it well. It was much improved from my first cruise. This is my second one on there. And there will be a third. No doubt. There's no doubt. We're already working on it, getting it booked for our next destination. But they are leaving Brooklyn. They're shutting the terminal down, I heard, to redo it, because they only can accommodate one ship. So I heard they're going to close down in April. This is the scuttlebutt that I heard, around the water cooler there, that they're going to close down Brooklyn Cruise Terminal in April, and Meraviglia is going to go someplace else for a while. So then when we want to go back on, we're going to have to fly to Florida to get on another MSC ship. They're going to redo the whole terminal, I guess, to accommodate more ships, and then they're going to come back. And it wasn't bad, because I reside in Pennsylvania, and I drove to Brooklyn about an hour and a half. I got to Brooklyn. I parked right in front of Mark's Pizza, great pizza joint, by the way, in Red Hook, Brooklyn. And I parked right on the street and got on the ship. Came back 7 days later, and my car was still there, sad to say. I thought maybe someone would take it, and I would get some insurance money, but no. It was still there, right where I left it, nice neighborhood. And I got in it, and I drove home. I got off the ship, and I was home by 11 o'clock in the morning. It's terrific. It's a win-win. I'm gonna miss them when they leave, but they're gonna redo the terminal and hopefully pick up the lease, and and they'll be back. Because I'm really not keen on flying, but I'll do it if I have to. But driving to Brooklyn or Norwegian, driving into Manhattan, which is even easier. It's really good. So, between the two of them, but you want bang for your buck, you got to go in MSC. I don't know how. I mean, eventually the prices will go up, I guess, as it gets more and more popular. But let me tell you something. For the money, you just can't beat it. You can't. So if Norwegian is up here, then I say MSC is right here. They're catching up. They're catching up. And it comes down to dollars and cents, folks. So if you're looking for the best time for your money, then best bang for your buck, MSC is the way to go. Frank the Taper gives it 2 thumbs up, and I will be back on it with no doubt. The ships are gorgeous. I mean, they are really something to behold. So that's my experience. Other people have different problems and issues, and it's stuck, it got broke down, or blah, blah, blah. But every time I've been on it, it's been nothing but stellar. but they definitely improved. They stepped up their game. Congratulations, MSC. Great job. I'll be seeing you again. And so I hope this little review, help people decide. I didn't get into too much detail, but anything you want to do. I mean, anything you want to do. They got basketball courts, pools that open. The jacuzzis that they claimed last year were just lukewarm and weren't hot. This year, they were hot. They were hot. You couldn't even get in right away. You had to, ease your way in. So little things like that. Little details like that. Temperatures of the jacuzzi, this and that. They recognized and they addressed it. And the prices are great. The gift shop was very reasonable for anything that you need. Very, very reasonable. I'm cheap, and I had no problem buying anything I wanted. So all the little things, the big things they have taken care of, but all the little tiny things that a big cruise ship just might forget about, say, who cares? The heck with that. As long as they're on it, who cares? But this time, everything was really, really good. They took good constructive criticism, and they applied it, and they fixed the little things, because it's the little things that make a difference, and it made a huge difference. So with that, MSC, the way to go. I don't know how long the prices are going to stay like that, but let me tell you something. It was, maybe that's why, it was so booked up, or and it was just fully booked and fully staffed. Fully staffed. I mean, more than enough people. And very nice people, too. Hard-working people. It was just the best. So we had a great time. The itinerary was good. You can cancel Florida out. Who cares? But, Nassau, I've been there before. Nice. But that private island, this is my first time there. I'd definitely go back. Definitely go back with no problem at all. So we're looking forward to our next cruise on MSC Meraviglia, or MSC, any other MSC ship. We're thinking about maybe trying to get onto the World America, and sailing down to maybe Honduras. So, we're talking about it, and we're really happy. So they did a really good job. They should be proud of themselves. They addressed, they're definitely better. Second time, definitely better than the first time, and I'm sure that the third time will even be better than the second time. They're on the right track. You want to take an MSC cruise? You won't be disappointed. Okay. This is Frank the Taper. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right.